They told you it was luck. They told you some people are just born different, born with something you don't have. They pointed at the winners, the ones standing in the light, and said they got lucky. And maybe, just maybe, you started to believe that lie. Maybe you started to think that success is some random blessing handed out to a chosen few while the rest of the world watches from the sidelines. But deep down, you know better. Because every time you stayed up late while the world slept, every time you pushed through exhaustion when your body begged you to quit, every time you chose discipline over comfort, you felt something. Not luck, not chance. You felt the grind. And the truth is, success has never belonged to the lucky. It has always belonged to the relentless. Luck doesn't wake up at 4 a.m. Luck doesn't sacrifice comfort. Luck doesn't endure pain, rejection, and failure over and over again until something finally breaks through. That's not luck. That's a decision. A decision to keep going when there's no applause. A decision to keep believing when there is no evidence. A decision to build something when everyone else is waiting for something. See, the world celebrates the result, but it ignores the process. It applauds the victory, but it never shows you the nights filled with doubt, the mornings filled with struggle, the days when nothing seems to move no matter how hard you try. And that's where most people quit. Not because they're not capable, but because they expected it to be easier. They expected the path to be smooth. They expected recognition early. They expected progress to be visible. But greatness doesn't work like that. Greatness hides. It hides in the repetition. It hides in the discipline. It hides in the boring, unglamorous, unseen work that no one wants to do. But everyone wishes they had done, because here's the reality. The grind doesn't feel like success when you're in it. It feels like frustration. It feels like slow progress. It feels like questioning yourself over and over again. But what you don't realize is that every single moment you stay committed, you are building something invisible. You are building resilience. And resilience is the foundation of everything. Because without resilience, talent collapses. Without resilience, motivation fades. Without resilience, dreams stay dreams. Think about it. How many people start strong but disappear? How many people get excited in the beginning but lose energy when things don't go their way? How many people say they want success, but only it becomes easy? That's not hunger, that's convenience. And success has no respect for convenience. Success respects consistency. It respects the person who shows up when they don't feel like it. It respects the person who keeps going when progress is invisible. It respects the person who understands that results are delayed but never denied. You see, the grind is not just about working hard. It's about becoming someone who doesn't break under pressure, someone who doesn't run from discomfort, someone who doesn't need motivation to take action, because motivation is temporary. But identity is permanent. And when you start to see yourself as someone who grinds, everything changes. You don't ask, do I feel like it today? You say, this is who I am. You don't wait for the perfect moment. You create it. You don't depend on luck. You depend on discipline. Because discipline doesn't care about your mood. It doesn't care about your excuses. It doesn't care about your fears. It only cares about one thing, action. And action repeated over time becomes power. But here's where it gets deeper. The grind is not just physical, it's mental. Because the real battle isn't against the world. It's against yourself. It's against the voice in your head that says, you're not good enough. It's against the doubt that creeps in when things don't go your way. It's against the fear that tries to keep you small, safe, and average. And most people, they lose that battle. Not because the voice is strong, but because they listen to it. They give it power. They let it define their limits. But what if you did it? What if instead of listening to that voice, you challenged it? What if every time it said you can't, you responded with action? What if every doubt became fuel? Because the truth is, belief is not something you wait for. Belief is something you build. You build it through effort. You build it through repetition. You build it through showing yourself again and again that you are capable of more than you thought. And that's where the grind becomes transformation. Because at first you're working for results, but eventually you realize something powerful. The results were never the real goal. The real goal was who you had to become to achieve them. And that version of you, that stronger, more disciplined, more focused version, that's not luck, that's earned, that's built, that's forged through pressure, pain, and persistence. So stop waiting for luck. Stop hoping for an easy path. Stop believing that success is something that just happens, because it doesn't. Success is created. It's created in the moments when no one is watching. It's created in the decisions no one applauds. It's created in the grind. And if you're willing to embrace that grind, if you're willing to commit to the process, even when it's hard, even when it's slow, even when it feels like nothing is changing, then you won't need luck. Because eventually, even inevitably, you will become unstoppable. And this is just the beginning. Because unstoppable isn't a talent, it's a mindset. It's a way of moving through life where excuses no longer have a voice, where fear no longer controls your direction, where comfort no longer dictates your decisions. The moment you realize that the only thing standing between where you are and where you want to be is the version of you that refuses to evolve, and evolution is not comfortable. It never has been. When Thomas Edison failed thousands of times before perfecting the light bulb, the world called it failure, but he didn't. He called it discovery. He understood something most people never will, that every failed attempt is not a step backward. It's a step deeper in understanding. That's the grind. It's not about getting it right the first time. It's about refusing to stop until you do. But most people don't fail because they lack intelligence. They don't fail because they lack opportunity. They fail because they lack endurance. They fail because somewhere along the way, they decided that the pain of continuing was greater than the pain of quitting. And that's the moment everything slips away. Because success demands something from you. It demands patience when you want results now. It demands discipline when you feel lazy. It demands belief when everything around you looks uncertain. And belief is where everything begins. Not surface level belief. Not the kind you say out loud to impress others. Real belief. The kind that anchors you when everything is falling apart. The kind that whispers keep going when every logical reason says stop. Because if you don't believe in your path, the first obstacle will break you. But if you do, if you truly deeply believe that what you're building matters, then no obstacle becomes permanent. It becomes temporary. It becomes something you move through, not something that defines you. Look at Abraham Lincoln, defeated in elections, failed in business, faced loss after loss after loss. By society's standards, he had every reason to quit, every reason to accept defeat as his identity, but he didn't. Because he understood something powerful. Failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of it. And that's what the grind teaches you. It teaches you that setbacks are not signs to stop. They are signals to adjust. They are lessons. They are preparation. Because the truth is, the bigger your vision, the harder your path will be. And that's not a punishment. That's a requirement. You cannot build something extraordinary with an average mindset. You cannot achieve greatness while thinking small. You cannot step into a powerful light while holding on to weak habits. Something has to change. And that something is you. Your mindset must sharpen. Your discipline must deepen. Your focus must become relentless. Because clarity is power. If you don't know where you're going, every distraction will look like an opportunity. Every obstacle will feel like a dead end. Every delay will feel like failure. But when your vision is clear, when you know exactly what you're working toward, then distractions lose their power. Obstacles lose their fear. Delays lose their frustration. Because you understand that everything is part of the process. Think about Walt Disney, rejected, told he lacked creativity, failed multiple times before building something the world will never forget. Imagine if he had stopped at the first rejection. Imagine if he had believed the voices that doubted him. There would be no magic, no legacy, no proof that imagination combined with relentless effort can create something timeless. And that's what you're doing. Whether you realize it or not, you are building your legacy. Every decision you make, every habit you repeat, every moment you choose discipline over comfort, you are writing your story. The question is, what kind of story are you writing? One where you waited for luck, or one where you became the reason success had no choice but to find you? Because let's be honest, luck is unpredictable, but the grind is controllable. You can't control timing. You can't control opportunity. You can't control opportunity. You can't control your effort. You can't control your attitude. You can't control your consistency. And consistency can't see. This is where the magic happens. Not in one big moment, not in one lucky break, but in the daily, repeated, intentional actions that compound over time. It's like building a foundation. At first, nothing seems to change. You lay one brick, then another, day after day. It looks the same. No recognition, no visible transformation. And that's where most people stop because they don't see progress. But what they don't understand is that the foundation is being built. And once that foundation is strong enough, everything rises. Everything accelerates. Everything accelerates. Everything begins to make sense. That's why patience is not weakness. Patience is strength. It's the ability to keep going without immediate reward. It's the discipline to stay committed without constant validation. It's the understanding that greatness takes time and time cannot be rushed. But patience alone is not enough. You need action, relentless, focus, intentional action. Because dreams without action are just illusions. Ideas without execution are just noise. Ideas without execution are just noise. And potential without effort is wasted. There are people in this world with incredible talent, unbelievable ideas, and massive dreams, and they will never succeed, not because they couldn't, but because they didn't act, because they waited, because they hesitated, because they allowed fear to hold them back. And fear is the greatest thief of all. It steals your chances. It steals your growth. It steals the life you could have lived. But here's the truth about fear. It's not real. It's a projection. A story your mind creates to protect you from discomfort. But growth doesn't happen in comfort. Growth happens in uncertainty. It happens when you take the step, even when you're not ready. It happens when you move forward, even when you're afraid. It happens when you trust yourself enough to try. Because every successful person you admire, they were afraid too. They doubted themselves too. They faced uncertainty too. The only difference is they didn't stop. They didn't let fear make their decision. They didn't wait for confidence. They built it through action. And that's your path, not waiting, not hoping, not wishing, but doing over and over and over and over again until what once felt impossible becomes inevitable, until inevitable stops feeling like a distant dream and starts feeling like your reality. Because there comes a moment in the grind, a quiet, almost invisible moment where everything begins to shift. Not on the outside, not yet. The world still looks the same. The results might still be slow. The recognition might still be missing. But inside something locks in. Your mindset hardens, your focus sharpens, your standards rise. You stop negotiating with weakness. You stop making excuses. You stop waiting for permission. And that's the moment you separate yourself from the crowd. Because most people live their entire life in negotiation. I'll start tomorrow. I'll try when I feel ready. I'll go harder when things get easier. But you don't wait for easier. You become stronger. And strength, real strength, is built through resistance. Think about Henry Ford. They told him it couldn't be done. They told him the idea of mass producing automobiles was unrealistic, impossible, impractical. But he didn't listen to opinions. He listened to vision. And that vision demanded work. It demanded long hours, relentless focus, and a refusal to accept limits placed by others. And that's what you're being called to do. To stop shrinking your vision to fit other people's beliefs. To stop playing small just because it's comfortable. To stop doubting yourself just because the results haven't shown up yet. Because here's the truth. Results are always late. Success is always delayed. But the grind is happening right now. In this moment, in the decisions you're making when nobody is watching. In the effort you're putting in when there's no guarantee of reward. That's where everything is being decided. And the hardest part, nobody sees, nobody applauds it. Nobody congratulates you for the days you didn't quit, for the moments you pushed through, for the times you chose discipline over distraction. But that's what makes it powerful. It's when your drive is internal, when your motivation comes from something deeper than validation. You become unstoppable. You don't need approval. You don't need recognition. You don't need someone to tell you you're doing a good job because you know, you feel it. You understand that every step forward, no matter how small, is building something greater. And that understanding changes everything because now you're no longer chasing success. You're becoming it. Your habits reflect it. Your mindset reflects it. Your actions reflect it. And when alignment happens, when who you are matches what you want, success is no longer a quest. It becomes a consequence. But alignment requires sacrifice. You can't hold onto old habits and expect new results. You can't stay in the same mindset and expect a different life. You can't keep surrounding yourself with negativity and expect to build something positive. Something has to go. Comfort has to go. Excuses have to go. Doubt has to go. And replacing them isn't easy because the grind doesn't just challenge your body. It challenges your identity. It forces you to let go of who you were so you can step into who you're meant to be. In that transition, that's where most people break because it's uncomfortable. It's uncertain. It feels like losing a part of yourself. But what you don't realize is you're not losing anything. You're upgrading. You're shedding limitation. You're releasing fear. You're stepping into power. And power doesn't come from ease. It comes from endurance. It comes from showing up when it's hard. It comes from pushing forward when it's on. It comes from continuing when everything inside you wants to stop. Because that's what resilience is. It's not about never falling. It's about refusing to stay down. And resilience is what turned ordinary people into extraordinary forces. Look at Andrew Carnegie. He didn't start at the top. He didn't inherit greatness. He built it through persistence, through learning, through an unshakable commitment to grow. He understood that success is not a moment. It's a process of becoming. And that process never ends because even when you reach one level, there's always another challenge. Another version of yourself waiting to be unlocked. And that's what makes this journey so powerful. It's not about arriving, it's about evolving. It's about waking up every day with a purpose greater than comfort, greater than fear, greater than doubt. It's about understanding that your life is not meant to be average. It's not meant to be safe. It's meant to be significant. But significance requires commitment. It requires you to go all in, not halfway, not sometimes, not when it's convenient, all in. Because half effort creates half result. And half results create a life of frustration, a life where you know you could have done more, been more, achieved more, but then in that regret. That's heavier than failure because failure teaches. Failure builds, failure strengthens, but regret, how? It lingers. It reminds you of what could have been. And you don't want that. You don't want to look back years from now and wonder, what if I had tried harder? You want to know, you want to stand there with certainty and say, I gave everything I had. Because when you give everything, when you truly commit, something incredible happens. Limits disappear, barriers break. And the version of you that once felt impossible becomes real, not because of luck, not because of chance, but because of the grind. Because you showed up, because you stayed consistent, because you refused to quit. And that refusal, that decision to keep going no matter what, that's where greatness is born. Not in comfort, not in ease, but in the fire, in the pressure, in the moments when everything feels like it's falling apart and you choose to stand anyway, because that's who you are now. Not someone who waits, not someone who doubts, not someone who quits, but someone who grinds, someone who builds, someone who rises again and again and again until the world has no choice but to recognize what you have become. Because now everything changes. Everything you've done, every early morning, every sleepless night, every moment, you push past pain, past doubt, past. It all converges right here, right now. And the world doesn't get to decide your world. The world doesn't get to decide your limits. The world only watches as you rise, and rise you will. Because the grind has transformed you. Not in small ways, not in subtle ways, but in every fiber of your being. Your mind sharp, your vision clear, your purpose undeniable. The people who doubted you, they are irrelevant. The voices that said you couldn't, they are background noise. The fear that once paralyzed you, dead, destroyed by persistence. Now you understand something every legend understood before you. Success doesn't come to the comfortable. It doesn't knock on the door of the patient or the polite. It comes to those who fight for it, to those who refuse to wait, to those who carry fire in their chest while the world sleeps. You want a life of excuses, a life of what ifs? Or do you want a life where you look in the mirror and see power staring back at you because that power exists? It's been there all along, but it won't reveal itself to the hesitant. It won't show up for the uncommitted. It waits for those willing to bleed for it, sweat for it, grind for it. Look around history. Look at the names that echo through time. Edison, Carnegie, Lincoln, Disney, Ford. They were not lucky. They were relentless. They were relentless. And their greatness, not gifted, earned every failure, every rejection, every no. Their faith became fuel. And fuel, when poured into relentless action, becomes unstoppable momentum. And you are no different. The only difference between you and the people who are living ordinary lives is this: you are willing to endure. You are willing to sacrifice. You are willing to stand alone if you had to, because you understand that greatness is not social. It is personal. It is internal. It is forged in the furnace of struggle, not on the stage of comfort. So now, rise, and own the grind. Rise and love the struggle. Rise and make the impossible inevitable. Because everything you've learned, everything you've endured, everything you've felt, everything you've sacrificed, it's all pointed to this one moment. The moment where you step forward, fully committed, fully alive, fully awake. And when you do, understand this: the world will try to test you. Obstacles will come. Doubts will surface here when we turn, but it won't matter, because you have become more than circumstance. You have become more than opinion. You have become the force you were born to be. And in that force, your energy, your vision, your discipline, your grind, lies victory, not borrowed, not given, not lucky, but earned, hard earned, sweat earned, heart earned, soul earned. And the best part, this is just the beginning, because the moment you embrace the grind, the moment you refuse to quit, the moment you claim your identity as a warrior of action, there is no limit to what you can achieve. Doors that once seemed closed will open. Opportunities that once seemed impossible will arrive. And the life you dreamed about in whispers, in hope, in quiet longing, it becomes your reality in full, unshakable, undeniable force. So go, stand, fight, build, sweat, sacrifice, rise, grind, repeat, because luck is irrelevant. The world cannot give you what you already own inside: a relentless heart, an unbreakable way, and a vision too big to ignore. This is your life. This is your grind. This is your moment. And when you finally look back, you will not see struggle. You will not see pain. You will see triumph. You will see growth. You will see yourself unshakable, unstoppable, undeniable, because success never happened by chance. It happened by grind. It happened because you refused to quit. It happened because you became relentless. It happened because you earned it. And now nothing can stop you.